The sky was clear over New York when the world changed. It started with a bright light. Not like lightning or a meteor. This was different. It moved slow and steady. People stopped what they were doing. Phones came out. Cameras turned up. Then, the object stopped. Just hung there. Above the city, above everything, a ship unlike anything humans had ever built hovered silently. It was huge, bigger than any aircraft carrier. Its surface shimmered like oil on water, shifting colors in ways that made your eyes hurt if you looked too long. It wasn't ours. Government scrambled. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Scientists tried to figure out how it got here so fast. Military leaders ordered satellites to track it. But the truth was obvious. Something not from Earth was watching us, and it wasn't alone. In the days that followed, more ships arrived. They didn't come crashing through the atmosphere or hiding in the shadows. They just appeared, one by one, silent, watching. They called themselves the Varn Collective. No flags, no greetings, no music or messages of peace, just silence. Then came the voice, not broadcast over radio, not sent as text or video. It came directly into the minds of every leader on Earth. You are observed. You are primitive. You will be studied. That was all. No explanation. No warning. By the time anyone could react, the Varn had already mapped half the planet. Their drones moved faster than human technology allowed. Some said they could walk through walls. Others claimed they could read thoughts. The world panicked, but the Varn didn't attack. They didn't need to. They simply watched and judged. Jason Carter stood outside the UN building in Geneva, arms crossed, eyes scanning the sky. He used to be a Marine. Now he was part of something new, a joint task force between governments trying to make sense of the Varn. Tall, broad-shouldered, with short brown hair and tired eyes, Jason had seen combat zones. He'd been shot at, watched friends die. But nothing prepared him for this. They're treating us like animals, he muttered. Beside him, Mia Dawson, a political analyst from Washington, shook her head. She wore glasses and always seemed to be thinking 5 steps ahead. They think we're not ready for them, she said, like kids playing with matches. They've been here a week, Jason replied, and all they do is watch. Why? Mia sighed. Maybe they don't know what else to do. Maybe they've never met a species like us before. Jason looked at her. You mean stubborn? She smiled faintly. I mean unpredictable. Inside the building, diplomats argued. Some wanted to welcome the Varn. Others wanted to push them away. Nobody agreed. The Varn didn't care. They continued their study, their scans, their quiet invasion. Earth's scientists tried to communicate, sent messages in math, physics, even art. The Varn responded only once, a simple message. Your technology is pre-industrial. Your weapons are toys, your cities are nests for insects. It was cold, brutal, and it was wrong. Because humanity wasn't weak. We had fusion reactors, orbital stations, AI systems smarter than most politicians. We had cities under the sea and colonies on Mars. But the Varn didn't see that. They saw what they wanted to see. Primitive, unimportant, worthless. Weeks passed. The Varn began building something near Mars. A relay station, maybe. Or a base. They didn't ask permission. They didn't knock. They just started construction. Earth's leaders demanded answers. The Varn ignored them. When Earth sent a fleet to investigate, the Varn shut down every ship's engine remotely. All, at once. Dozens of vessels floated helplessly in space while Varn drones circled them like birds around prey. No threats. No violence. Just control. The message was clear. You don't get to say no. Back on Earth, protests grew. People were angry, scared, frustrated. Some called for war. Others begged for peace. Nobody knew what to do. Jason was in a secret meeting with military officials when the idea first came up. What if we fight back? Someone asked. Silence filled the room. Are you serious? Another general asked. We can't keep letting them do whatever they want, Jason said. If we don't stand up now, we never will. You think we can beat them? A woman from the CIA asked. No, Jason admitted. But maybe we don't have to win. Maybe we just have to surprise them. More silence. Then Mia spoke. If we show them we're not afraid, maybe they'll rethink what they think about us. Everyone looked at her. She shrugged. It worked with other civilizations in history. Native Americans, Africans, Asians. Sometimes the strongest thing isn't power, it's resistance. Jason nodded. We don't have to win a war. We just have to prove we're not easy targets. One by one, people in the room started agreeing. Plans were made. Secret programs launched. New tech tested. Old ideas revisited. Humanity wasn't ready for space war, but we were learning. Fast. Back in orbit, the Varn watched. Their leader, if they even had one, had not spoken again. But they noticed the changes. The increased military activity, the sudden burst of innovation, the defiance. To the Varn, this was strange. They had seen many species. Most bowed, a few fought. None survived. So, why did this one feel different? Brel Talk, a Varn observer assigned to Earth, watched from his floating platform high above the Pacific Ocean. He had studied dozens of worlds. This one confused him. They were chaotic, emotional, unpredictable, but also strong. They did not give up. Even when faced with impossible odds, even when beaten, they rose again. Reltalk recorded his findings. The humans are primitive, but they are dangerous. He sent the report. His superiors laughed, but Vreltalk kept watching, waiting, because deep down, he felt something he hadn't felt before. Doubt. Back on Earth, Jason stood on a rooftop in Los Angeles, looking up at the stars. The Varn were still there, still watching, still judging. But now, humanity was watching too, learning, preparing. We weren't ready, but we were getting there. And soon the galaxy would learn something the Varn missed. Humans don't run. We fight. And when we fight, we win. The silence didn't last. It shattered with fire and noise. One morning, just before sunrise over Earth, a new ship appeared near Mars. But this one wasn't Varn. Its shape was jagged, its color dark like blood under moonlight. It moved fast, too, fast for human eyes to track clearly. Then it fired. A beam of energy lanced out and struck the Varn relay station. The explosion lit up space like a second sun. Back on Earth, people watched live feeds from orbit. Scientists screamed. Reporters gasped. Governments panicked. The Varn had been attacked, and not by humans. The attackers called themselves the Cathari Separatists. They were rebels, once part of the Varn collective, but now its enemies. They wanted to break free, and they wanted to burn what they left behind. The relay station exploded into pieces, sending debris flying through space like shrapnel. Then the Varn responded. From hidden bases across the solar system, ships dropped cloaks and surged forward. They moved like shadows, silent and deadly. What followed was the first battle ever fought in Earth's sky that wasn't ours. The Cathari hit hard and fast. Their weapons tore through Varn armor like paper. They flew strange ships shaped like claws and teeth. The Varn answered with cold precision. Lasers burned holes in hulls. Missiles turned fighters into clouds of dust. One Varn cruiser took 6 direct hits and kept firing. Jason Carter stood in a command center deep beneath Colorado Springs, watching everything unfold on screens. Beside him, Mia Dawson gripped the edge of a table, her face pale. "This isn't a test," she whispered. "This is real." Jason nodded slowly. "Looks like we're not the only ones who don't like being watched." Around them, military officers shouted orders. Satellites zoomed in. Drones launched. People tried to understand what was happening, but no one could stop it. The battle spread closer to Earth. Ships crashed into asteroids. Fighters spun out of control and burned up in the atmosphere. A piece of a Cathari ship landed in the Pacific Ocean. No survivors. Back in New York, people ran through the streets. Some looked up in awe. Others screamed and hid. For the first time, humanity saw what real space war looked like. Not movies, not games, real death, real violence, and we weren't even part of it. Yet. On board the Varn flagship, Vreltok stood before a glowing screen showing the battle. His leader, a tall figure wrapped in flowing robes, spoke without turning. "This is not your concern," the voice said. "The separatists will be crushed." Vreltok bowed his head. "But the humans are watching, they are learning." "They will forget," the leader replied. "They always do." Vreltok did not answer. He simply watched as another Cathari fighter rammed itself into a Varn destroyer, taking both ships down in a flash of white light. He felt something again. Doubt. And maybe fear. Back on Earth, Jason and Mia met with a group of scientists in a secret lab in Nevada. Lena Morrow sat at the front, arms crossed. She was smart. Too smart for most meetings. She built machines that could think. Designed weapons that could aim better than any soldier. Now she stared at footage of the battle. "These aliens," she muttered, "they fight like gods." Jason leaned back in his chair. "Yeah, problem is we're the ants under their boots." Mia frowned. "We have to stay out of this, we're not ready." Lena shook her head. "You're wrong. This is our chance." "To do what?" Jason asked. "To learn," she said. "To steal. To copy. If we can get even one working alien weapon, we might stand a chance someday." Jason looked at her. "You want to raid a battlefield full of dead alien ships?" "Yes," Lena said without hesitation. Mia sighed. "That's insane." "But smart," Jason said slowly. "If we can take anything useful, we might start closing the gap." They argued for hours. In the end, the plan was approved. A small team would go to the crash site in the Pacific. Their mission: recover tech. Stay quiet. Don't get caught. And above all, don't die. 2 days later, a submarine slipped into the ocean near where the Cathari fighter had fallen. Inside, Jason led a team of 5 divers and engineers. They wore suits made for deep-sea work, tools strapped to their backs. Guns in case something else was already there. The deeper they went, the darker it got. Then they saw it. The wreck lay on the ocean floor like a broken beast, half melted, twisted metal. Lights still flickering, they swam inside. The inside was worse. Bodies floated in zero gravity, blood stuck to walls like paint. Jason pointed to a device in the pilot's hand. "That's what we need," he said. "Take it, fast." One diver reached out. Suddenly the lights blinked. Something groaned. Then the ship moved. Alarms blared inside their helmets. "What the hell?" one diver shouted. "It's still alive." Lena's voice crackled over comms. "Get out!" Jason grabbed the device and pulled it free. The ship began to shake. "Go! Go, go!" They swam for the exit. Just as they broke surface, the fighter exploded behind them. A shockwave slammed into them. Jason blacked out. When he woke up, he was back on the sub. Lena stood over him. "You're lucky," she said. "Almost died." Jason coughed. "Did we get it?" Lena smiled. "Oh yeah, and I think it's more than just a weapon." "What do you mean?" She held up the device. It pulsed with soft blue light. "This thing," she said, "it's not just a gun. It's a power core. Maybe even smarter than our computers." Jason stared at it. "Can you make more?" "I'll try," Lena said. "But if this works, we might have our first step toward fighting back." Meanwhile, on the Varn flagship, Vreltok reviewed data. Earth had sent a team to the crash site. They had taken something. He watched as the stolen object was brought into a human lab. He turned to his commander. "They are not just watching anymore," he said. The commander looked at him. "They are preparing." Vreltok bowed. "Should we stop them?" There was a long pause. Then the commander spoke. "No." Vreltok looked up. "We let them see. Let them learn. They may become dangerous. So let them." The commander turned away. "One day, they will fight us. And then?" The commander smiled. "Then we will see if they are truly primitive." Back on Earth, Lena worked nonstop. She studied the alien core, took it apart, built copies. Weeks passed, then months. And slowly, something changed. Human tech started to improve. Weapons became stronger, ships faster, defenses smarter. People noticed. The world started to believe. Maybe we weren't helpless. Maybe we weren't weak. Maybe we weren't alone. And maybe, just maybe, we were ready. The silence didn't last. It never does. 2 months after the battle near Mars, the Varn returned. This time, not just with ships, but with a message. "You have broken the rules. You will be corrected." No warning, no diplomacy, just a fleet dropping out of warp near Tam, Earth's orbit. Dozens of ships, dark and silent. They formed a ring around the planet, not for show, for control, and then they spoke directly into the minds of every human leader. "You are not ready. You do not belong. You will stand down or be removed." Back in Colorado Springs, Jason Carter stood in the command center staring at the screen. Around him, officers argued. Scientists panicked. Politicians begged for peace. But Jason didn't speak. He just watched. Then he turned to Mia Dawson. "They're serious," she said quietly. Jason nodded. "Yeah, but so are we." Across the world, Earth's governments met in secret. Some wanted to surrender, some wanted to hide. But others? They were done being told what to do. In Geneva, in Washington, in Beijing, in Nairobi, in Sydney, leaders agreed on one thing. Earth would not bow. And if the Varn wanted to test us, fine, let them come. Lena Morrow worked nonstop. She had studied the alien core they recovered from the Cathari fighter. Now, she was building something new, something dangerous. Her team called it Project Thunder. A railgun platform powered by stolen alien tech, mounted on satellites, designed to fire faster than light. She stood in her lab, surrounded by engineers and soldiers. "This is our first real shot," she said. "If this works, we might finally hit back." One of the engineers frowned. "You mean fight back?" Lena looked at him. "We don't run," she said simply. "The Varn gave their final order. All human military forces will disband. All weapons will be destroyed. All resistance will be crushed." Earth responded with silence, then action. Across the globe, defense systems activated, missiles armed, fighters took off, satellites repositioned, and for the first time, humans prepared to fight a space war, not with hope, not with fear, but with fire. The attack came fast. From high orbit, the Varn launched a wave of drones, small, fast, deadly. They dove toward Earth like falling stars. But this time, Earth was ready. From hidden bases in Alaska, Australia, and Antarctica, missiles roared into the sky. Lasers fired from mountaintops, railguns, spat metal slugs at impossible speeds, and in space, Project Thunder lit up. Satellites spun into position. Their barrels glowed, then fired. Boom, boom, boom. 3. Varn drones exploded in quick succession. The Varn paused. They weren't expecting that. Neither was Earth. People across the world watched. Live feeds. They saw the sky light up, saw their own ships fight, saw their weapons strike back. For the first time, humanity wasn't just surviving, we were fighting. Jason led the ground defense from a mobile command post near Denver. He wore his old Marine jacket, even though it was too hot. Mia sat beside him, typing fast on a laptop. "They're sending more," she said. Jason looked at the screen. "How many?" "Too many. He sighed. Tell the railgun teams to hold position. Tell the fighters to stay low and cover the cities. Mia sent the orders. Then the sky lit up again. This time, Varn cruisers dropped shields. They opened fire. Energy. Beams tore through clouds, cities burned. Power grids failed. Homes collapsed. But still, Earth fought. From underground bunkers, soldiers fired guided missiles. From orbit, refitted cargo ships turned into warships. From the oceans, submarines launched surprise attacks. Humanity wasn't winning, but we weren't losing either. We were holding, and that scared the Varn more than anything. On the Varn flagship, Vreltok watched the battle unfold. His commander stood beside him. They resist, Vreltok said. His commander did not answer. Instead, he stared at the screen showing Earth. Smoke rose over cities. Fires burned, but lights still shined. Lights from homes, from hospitals, from schools, from people who refused to die. Finally, the commander spoke. This is not possible. Vreltok looked at him. Why? Because they are primitive? No, the commander said slowly. Because they should have run. Back on Earth, Lena ran through her lab. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the air. An explosion rocked the building. She ducked behind a console. Outside, a Varn dropship hovered. It fired again. More walls fell. She grabbed the core she had been working on. It pulsed with blue light. Her last hope. She shouted into her comms. I'm still alive. I've got the prototype. Jason's voice crackled. Where are you? Lab B. South entrance. I'm coming. Minutes later, Jason kicked open the door. Smoke poured out. Lena coughed, but she held the core tight. Jason pulled her up. You okay? He asked. She nodded. I think we can win. He looked at the device. That thing? It's not just a power source, she said. It's a gravity well generator. Jason blinked. Say what? She smiled. It creates fake black holes, small ones, enough to trap enemy ships. Jason stared at her, then he grinned. That's insane. And brilliant, Lena said. He helped her up. Let's go make history. Back in orbit, the tide began to turn. With the help of captured Varn tech, Earth launched its first counterattack. Not to destroy, but to trap. A railgun satellite fired the gravity core into space. It activated. A ripple spread. Nearby, Varn ships slowed, then stopped, then spun out of control, caught in invisible chains. The Varn tried to escape. They couldn't. They screamed over comms. They begged for answers. But Earth didn't answer. We just watched, and for the first time, the Varn feared us. Later that night, Jason and Lena stood on top of a mountain in Colorado. The sky was clear. The battle was still going, but Earth had survived the first wave. Mia joined them. She handed Jason a report. The UN says we lost half our cities, she said softly. Jason read it. He didn't cry. He didn't yell. He just looked at the stars. Then he spoke. We don't run, he said. Mia looked at him. We fight, Lena added. Jason nodded. And we win. Back on the Varn flagship, Vreltok bowed before his commander. What now? He asked. There was a long pause. Then the commander spoke. We retreat. Vreltok looked up. But why? His commander looked at the screen. At the burning planet below. At the strange, stubborn creatures who refuse to die. Then he answered. Because they are not primitive. They are dangerous. The Varn left. Not in defeat, not in shame, but in silence. Their fleet pulled back from Earth's orbit. No final message, no warning, just gone. For a full day, Earth waited for the next attack. It never came. People didn't celebrate. They were too tired, too hurt, too afraid. Cities burned. Families mourned. Soldiers stood watch, ready for more war. And then, something unexpected happened. A single ship returned. Not Varn, not human. It landed in the ruins of what used to be Denver. Smoke still rose from broken buildings. Ash covered everything. From the ship stepped one figure, tall, thin, alien. He wore a cloak made of shifting colors. His skin was gray like stone. His eyes glowed faintly. He raised his hands. No weapon, no threat, just peace. Jason Carter led a small team toward him. Beside him walked Mia Dawson and Lena Morrow. They approached slowly. The alien spoke first. "I am Vreltok." Jason looked at him. "You're Varn." "I was," Vreltok said. "No longer." There was a long pause. Then Jason asked, "Why are you here?" Vreltok looked around. "At home, I was told your species was weak, that you were not ready, that you should be studied or removed." He turned back to Jason. "But you did not run." Jason crossed his arms. "We don't do that." Vreltok nodded. "I see that now." Mia stepped forward. "So why come here? Why not stay with your people?" Vreltok looked down. "Because they will return." Silence. Then he added, "And next time, they will not test you. They will erase you." Back in the command center, deep underground, leaders gathered. Vreltok sat across from them. He showed them data, maps, to plans, secrets, all stolen before he fled. "This," he said, pointing to a glowing line on the screen, "is the path of the next Varn Armada." Jason leaned closer. "How big?" "Larger than before," Vreltok said. "Stronger weapons, more ships. They will not allow Earth to fight again." Mia frowned. "You mean they'll destroy us this time?" Vreltok met her eyes. "Yes." There was a long silence. Then Lena spoke. "We can't wait for them to come back." Jason looked at her. "What are you saying?" She stood up. "We go to them." Around the table, people stared. "You want to attack?" someone asked. Lena nodded. "Yes, we hit them before they hit us." Jason rubbed his face. "That's insane." "No," she said. "Dying here is insane. We have a chance, a small one. But it's better than waiting to die." Mia looked at Vreltok. "Can you help us?" He thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "I can show you their weaknesses." In the weeks that followed, Earth changed, not just its people, its purpose. No more hiding, no more pretending. We were at war, and we were done being the victims. Across the world, factories worked non-stop. Old ships were refitted, new weapons built, old ideas tried again, and for the first time, humans started building offensive tech, not just to defend, to strike, to win. And at the heart of it all was Project Thunder, now bigger, more powerful, more deadly. Lena led the effort. She worked day and night. Her team grew: engineers, scientists, pilots, soldiers, even civilians joined. They knew the risk. They knew the odds. But still, they came. Because they believed. Because they had hope. And because they remembered what it felt like when the Varn called us primitive. We weren't. We never were. One night, Jason stood on top of a ruined building in New York. The city was quiet. Too quiet. Lena joined him. She handed him a coffee. He took it. They watched the stars. Finally, she spoke. "You ever think about running?" she asked. Jason shook his head. "Nope. Even if we lose," he looked at her. "Even then." She smiled faintly. "You're crazy." "So are you." She laughed softly, then she got serious. "We're going to space soon." Jason sipped his coffee. "Yeah, I know. You scared?" He looked at her. "A little. But not for me." "For who?" "For everyone down here." He pointed to the ground. "If we fail, they pay the price." Lena looked down. "They won't," she said. "Because we won't let them." Jason nodded. "No, we won't." Back in Geneva, the United Nations held a vote. For the first time in history, Every nation agreed on one thing. Earth would no longer ask for permission. We would no longer beg for peace. We would speak as equals, or not at all. Jason gave a speech. Live. To the whole world. He stood in front of thousands. Behind him, the flag of Earth flew. He looked into the camera and he spoke. We were called primitive. We were told we didn't belong. But we fought, and we survived. We are not gods. We are not monsters. We are human, and we are not afraid. Cheers broke out, cries of joy. People hugged, children smiled. Hope returned, and somewhere in the sky, maybe someone was watching, maybe someone was listening, and maybe, just maybe, they finally understood. We were not prey. We were warriors. And Earth was no longer alone. The Varn returned. This time they did not come with warnings. They came to end it. A massive armada dropped out of warp near Earth's orbit. Hundreds of ships, dark and silent, like a storm, moving across the sky. They formed a wall around the planet. No, Cabs, no mercy, their message was clear. This ends now. Back in Colorado Springs, Jason Carter stood inside the underground command center. Around him, officers barked orders. Scientists worked fast. Pilots prepped their ships. Mia Dawson sat at her desk, eyes scanning data from orbit. They're locking us in, she said. They don't plan on giving us a way out. Jason looked at the screen showing the enemy fleet. He didn't move, didn't speak. Then he turned to Lena Morrow. You ready? He asked. Lena looked up from her console. Her hands were shaking slightly, but her voice was steady. I've been ready for this since the first day we stole that alien core. Jason nodded. Good, because today we fight back. Across the world, Earth responded, not with fear, not with panic, but with fire. From hidden bases in Alaska, Australia, and Antarctica, ships launched. Fighters rose from underground hangars. Railgun satellites powered up, and deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Project Thunder lit up. Lena had spent months perfecting the tech. Now it was time to see if it worked. She stood in her lab, surrounded by engineers and soldiers. All right, she said. Let's light up the sky. Outside, the battle began. The first wave hit fast. Varn drones dove like falling stars, firing beams of energy toward Earth. Missiles roared up from hidden silos. Lasers cut through clouds. Railguns fired slugs faster than sound. One drone exploded. Then, another. Then 5. The Varn paused. They weren't expecting resistance. They weren't expecting fire. But Earth gave it to them. In spades, Jason led from the bridge of the USS Liberty, an old carrier refitted with stolen Varn tech. He watched the battle unfold on the main screen. We've got movement, a comms officer shouted. Enemy squadrons breaking off. Jason leaned forward. Tell our fighters to stay tight. We need to hold them long enough for the railguns to lock on. Mia sent the order. From orbit, Lena monitored the gravity well. Generators. She tapped into the system. Activating Trap 1. Now. A pulse shot out from a hidden satellite. A ripple spread through space. 2 Varn cruisers slowed, then stopped, spun, crashed into each other, destroyed. Lena grinned. They finally learned what it feels like to be helpless. Below in the skies above New York, human fighters dueled with Varn drones. Pilots pushed their ships hard. Smoke filled the air. Flames danced. Still we held. Still we fought, and still we won. For every ship we lost, we took 2 of theirs down. With us, it wasn't clean, it wasn't easy, but it was real. We were fighting, and we were winning. Back on the Varn flagship, Vreltok watched in silence. His commander stood beside him. They are stronger than we thought, Vreltok said. His leader did not answer. Instead, he stared at the screen, at the burning ships, at the chaos, at the humans who refused to die. Finally, he spoke. They do not act like prey. Vreltok nodded. No, they act like hunters. There was a long pause. Then his commander turned. Then let them prove it. Jason felt the shift before the report came in. Something changed. The Varn stopped holding back. Their biggest ship, a dreadnought the size of a small moon, moved forward, its weapons charged. It aimed at Earth. Jason saw it. No, Mia whispered. They wouldn't. They would, Jason said. He grabbed the mic. All units target the dreadnought. I repeat, take that ship down or we lose everything. Fighters surged forward. Railguns fired non-stop. Project Thunder activated again. But the dreadnought kept coming. Its shields held. Its weapons locked on Earth. Then it fired. The beam tore through the sky. It hit the Atlantic. Water boiled. Land shook. Cities burned. People screamed. But still, we fought. Still we stood. Because we knew something the Varn didn't. You don't break humanity. You don't scare us. You don't make us run. Inside the Liberty, Jason barked orders. Tell Lena to push the gravity cores to full power. Tell the railguns to focus fire. And get me a damn fighter, I'm going up there. Mia grabbed his arm. You can't just leave the ship. Jason looked at her. You think I'll last longer hiding in here? She didn't answer. He turned. To the door. I'll be back. Then he ran. On the ground, Lena worked fast. She adjusted the settings, pushed the systems beyond safe limits. She knew this might destroy the satellites, but she didn't care. If it meant stopping the dreadnought, so be it. She pressed the final button. Fire. The sky lit up. Over 20 gravity wells opened at once. Dozens of Varn ships vanished into pockets of warped space, including one. The dreadnought. It shuddered. Its path bent. Its weapons faltered. Then, it disappeared, swallowed by its own trap. Silence. Then cheers. Then hope. Back in space, Jason flew his fighter through smoke and debris. He saw the opening. He saw the chance. He dove forward. Behind him, his wingman called out. Boss, we've got incoming. Jason didn't turn. I see them. Break left. They split. Lasers flew past, missiles exploded, but Jason stayed focused. He lined up the shot. Locked on, fired. Boom. An enemy fighter went down. Another tried to follow. He spun. Fired again. Boom. More ships came. Too many. He couldn't win. But then, new. Signals appeared. Friendly ones. Fighters from all over Earth joined the fight. They flew together, as one. Jason smiled. This is what we were made for. Hours later, the battle ended. The Varn pulled back. Again. But this time it wasn't silence. It was surrender. They left behind wreckage, dead ships, broken weapons, and one thing more. Respect. They finally understood. Humanity was not weak. We were not primitive. We were warriors, and we had earned our place among the stars. That night, Jason stood on top of a ruined building in Denver. The sky was dark, but the stars were bright. Lena joined him. She handed him a coffee. He took it. They watched. The sky. Then she spoke. We did it. Jason sipped his drink. Nope. She looked at him. It's just beginning. She smiled. Yeah. They stood in silence. Then Lena asked, What now? Jason looked at the stars. Now? We go find the rest of them. The rest? Jason nodded. There's a whole galaxy out there, and now we're part of it. Lena looked up. And for the first time, the stars didn't look so far away. The stars looked different now. Not distant, not unreachable, just waiting. Earth had survived the Varn. More than that, we had earned our place in the galaxy, not as victims, not as prey, but as warriors, as equals. And now the universe was watching, waiting, wondering what we would do next. Jason Carter stood on a Martian plateau looking out over the red dust. Behind him, construction crews worked on the first human-built warp gate. It wasn't finished yet, but it was close. Beside him, Lena Morrow adjusted her visor and looked up at the sky. They're coming, she said. Jason nodded. I know. A signal had arrived days ago from deep space. No name, no flag, just a message. You stood your ground. Now, let us talk as equals. It was the first time anyone outside Earth had said those words. Lena smiled faintly. Feels weird, doesn't it? Jason looked at her. What does? Being taken seriously? He chuckled. Yeah. Took them long enough. She nudged him. Took us long enough. They both laughed. Then Mia Dawson walked up, holding a tablet. Command wants you back on Earth for the summit, she said. Jason raised an eyebrow. Summit? Mia grinned. Yeah. Turns out every nation on Earth wants to meet with the aliens who finally respect us. Lena smirked. Guess we're diplomats now. Jason shook his head. Nah, we're still soldiers. Just with better titles. Back on Earth, preparations were in full swing. The United Nations had turned its Geneva headquarters into a temporary alien embassy. Security was tight. Cameras were everywhere. People from all over the world watched live feeds. This was history, real, undeniable history. For the first time, humans were not just reacting, we were leading. The meeting room was round. At the center, a holographic table displayed maps of space. Around it sat leaders from every major country. Jason, Lena, and Mia took their places near the front. Across from them stood Vrel Talk, the former Varn observer. Now, something more, an ally, a friend. He bowed slightly. I speak for those among my people who see truth, he said. You are not primitive. You are not weak. You are dangerous. And respected. There was silence, then applause, not loud, not forced, just real. Because for once someone else saw us how we saw ourselves, not as children, not as threats, but as equals. In the weeks that followed, contact spread. Other civilizations reached out. Some were curious, some were cautious, one even sent a warning. The Varn will return. They do not forget, and they do not forgive. But this time, humanity didn't flinch. We were ready. We were building. We were learning. Project Thunder expanded. New ships launched. New weapons tested, not for war, not for conquest, but for protection. Because we knew one thing better than anyone else. Peace only lasts when you can fight for it. Lena led the charge. Her lab became the Interplanetary Defense Research Division. She oversaw the creation of new tech, better railguns, stronger shields, faster ships. And for the first time, she began designing ships meant to travel beyond the solar system. We're not staying here forever, she told her team. One young engineer asked, Where are we going? She looked at him. To find the rest of them. Jason took command of Earth's new interstellar fleet. He trained pilots, led missions, even went on a few himself. He visited the ruins of Varn outposts, studied their tech, learned their weaknesses. He kept a journal, not for glory, not for fame. For the next generation, so they wouldn't make the same mistakes, so they'd remember where we came from and why we fought. Mia became Earth's first official ambassador to the stars. She traveled to other worlds, met species unlike anything we'd imagined. Some were kind, some were cruel, but all treated her with respect, because they knew who she represented. Humanity. The species that refused to be ignored, that stood tall when others tried to break us. That proved strength isn't about power, it's about heart, about courage, about never giving up. On Mars, the final piece of the puzzle came together. The warp gate activated, its core pulsed, its rings spun. Then, light. Bright, powerful, a portal opened, beyond it, unknown, unseen, possibilities. Jason, Lena, and Mia stood at the edge, looking at each other, then at the stars. Lena smiled. Ready? Jason nodded. Been ready. Mia stepped forward. Let's go say hello. They walked through, and behind them, Earth watched. Proud, brave, free. Back on the Varn flagship, Vreltok stood before his commander. They have left their world, he said. His leader was silent. Then he spoke. Then let them learn what lies beyond. Vreltok bowed. And if they survive? His commander looked at the stars. Then we will fight them again, or we will serve beside them. Either way, they have earned their place. And so the story of Earth did not end. It began with fire, with blood, with hope, with warriors, with dreamers, with those who refused to be called primitive and who proved beyond doubt. Humans don't run. We rise, we fight, we win, and now we explore, together, among the stars.